friends. I thought I'd talk through this really simple card with you. This was just kind of a last minute thing. I had a background that I had made quite some time ago with the linen stamp from Tim Holtz and Stampers Anonymous. And I kind of wanted to use some of the new Tim Holtz Sizzix Chapter 2 from 2022 release that I hadn't used. And I didn't use the heart from the Artsy or the abstract faces, and I really did want to use that. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to pull that out and I'm going to give it a shot. So I used the heart, and I used this little orange scallopy part on this card. So those were the two that I used from the Artsy Faces. Remember, you don't have to make the faces. You can just use all the really cool elements that are in there. So the heart, and this is that little scalloped piece that I just used as a little accent on the bottom. And once I cut the heart out, I colored it with a little bit of milled lavender, and then I took the Villainous Potion Distress ink, and I inked up my brayer, and I really inked up the raised side. That's the wider side, okay? Or yes, because it's raised, and so it's the part that's going to go down in and make the cracks to make it look like cracked leather. So I inked it up with a Villainous Potion, and then I went ahead and put the milled lavender piece of mixed media heavy stock in there, closed it, ran it through 3 times for 3D, and then when I opened it up, I had this amazing dark purple with just a little bit of milled lavender showing through, and I thought that was really cool. So I used it not only as the background piece, but I cut the heart out of it, and then you know, I covered up where I cut the heart out. You don't see it because it's covered with this background piece that I made a long time ago, and it's just been kind of in my stash, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to use that. So today was the day to use it. Hey there, fellow makers. So this is Future Tammy breaking into this very short video that I had made prior to sending the card off to Tim and Mario for the Sizzix Chapter 2 release. I have since gotten a whole bunch of questions as to how I made the background for the card, and I wasn't planning on going over that really because it was just one that I had in my stash. But I've had so many requests that I'm going to attempt to do a quick tutorial on how I did that. It is just basically kind of watercolor stamping, and I had been making a bunch of cards as practice for a class that I taught a few years ago. It ended up making the cards for the sample cards for the actual class, had the class, and then I had a whole bunch of things still left over. So I was making, you know, my favorite technique, the iron off resist, and then I had to kind of find things that would coordinate with it. And so I was doing watercolor stamping to find things that would coordinate, and the linen stamp is one of those. And this one is another one that is great for doing with this technique, as you can see. So it's, you know, this is a great set. This is the Mesh and Linen CMS 221 stamp set, and it's one of my favorites because it really is, you know, it's something that you can stamp, and then you can just use it as a piece that would coordinate with whatever technique that you're using. So I have some watercolor cardstock here. I will be stamping on the flat side, and for that one, for the class, I used minis. So let's get started, and I'll quickly show you how I did this, and then you can kind of have fun making some of your own watercolor backgrounds. You want to begin with the lightest color. So I'm going to just go a couple areas with a light color so I can see. And then I'm going to add a little bit of picked raspberry here and there. I'm going to add a little bit of, this is wilted violet. Let's add some of that there. Just a little here and there. It will turn purple on its own because I have peacock feathers here. And when I add it next to the pink, it will turn purple. When I add it next to the yellow, it will turn green. Okay. So you can see I pretty much got most of the places, and then I noticed that I did have some brown here and there. So I kind of wanted to add that in a little bit with some walnut stain and see how we did with that. Just a little bit here and there. Okay. And then you want to wet it. Ooh. Okay, so I just did 4 sprays, so we'll see how that goes on our first stamp. You can get a couple of stamps out of these. So that's the smooth side. I'm going to turn it over. And my dad made this for me. It's the only one he made. He was going to make several for my mom, but this is the only one he got made. And he brought it to me in September, so I love using it. All right, let's see. All right, now that's very vibrant, but you can see it's a fun background and that you could use it with a lot of different things. So I'm going to set it aside, and then I'm going to spray this again. And let's see what our second one looks like. It's a little bit more damp, and I bet it will be less defined and not as vibrant. Okay. Okay, so that's super fun. It's still very vibrant though. Okay, we'll set that aside. Let's do another one. How many can we get out of it? This is why I had so many backgrounds, which is kind of funny. All right. And you can see I missed these 2 areas, but that's okay because most of the time when I was doing this, I was only using like a section. I'm going to try for one more. So good. I love it. All right. I think I can get one more. That would be number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do it. And then, actually, this would be great if you were making a bunch of the same card to give to someone. Like if you wanted to make a bunch of those. Cut out a bunch of hearts, cut out a bunch of the word love. And then you have a whole bunch of backgrounds made. Still so good. Oh my goodness. How many am I going to get out of this? Okay, I think that we are coming to the end there. I think that will be the last one I do. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I will show those all to you in just a second. Let me wipe this off. Well, I'll just set it over here. Now, they need to dry, but you had this vibrant one. And then you have this one, which is very similar, but not quite as defined. And then it starts to get less defined, okay? And then we had, I believe, let's see, it must have been this one. And then this one, because they get lighter. And then this one. So, can you see all of those? So we got 6 that we could use to make 6 very quick cards like this. And that's how we did the background. Very simple, just, you know, a watercolor stamping technique. I sewed around the piece with my sewing machine and I just went crazy. I wasn't trying to be careful or anything like that. I love the kind of haphazard look of it. The sentiment is part of the bold text too, and it is the one that says love with all your heart. And instead of cutting the whole thing out, I just cut this line, love with, out of just a piece of colored mixed media heavy stock. And I cut out also that little scalloped piece so that it would coordinate. And I just, you know, put those on there. I sewed over that piece after I attached 2 more of the Artsy Stems. These Artsy Stems were some of my practice ones, and I thought, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and put those on. I had cut them out first out of watercolor cardstock, and then I hand colored them with a water brush. So I just cut them out of white watercolor paper and then hand colored them. And so I thought, you know, the kind of splotchy look, it kind of went with this whole background color. So that's what I did, and it came together as a very, very quick card that, you know, anybody could make. And you know, you obviously don't have to use all of the dies that I did. You could just use things that you have cut out and that you have. If you have another heart, great, use another heart, you know, or whatever. But this is just a quick idea for using some of the new Tim Holtz 2022 Sizzix releases, and I hope that that inspires you to use some of your leftovers that you have and just make a fun quick card for someone. All right, thank you so much for stopping by. I know this was super fast and super quick, but the card was super fast and super quick, so I don't really need to go on too long about it. Thank you again. If you have any questions, as always, please contact me through my blog and the contact section in the right hand corner, and I will do my best to answer your questions. I always appreciate that you stop by my YouTube channel and my blog. Thank you so much for all your support. I hope that you have a very crafty day, my friends.